All right, Kevin, this is for Thursday. What is that, March 20th? I believe so. Yeah, whatever Thursday is. I'm not going to jump into the S&P right away. Let's start with let's just go right into, I'll just do the newsletters. We'll start with the lean hogs. I'm going to be brief about this because I know we're probably not going to be participating in this. We've already said as much, but just a reminder, 92.12 is actually in reach tomorrow. That's that long-term channel top that if we settle the week above does spell bullish continuation through April and possibly well into summer trade. We get these little spots, 108 even, 133.37 are all viable targets. There is a double channel extension way up here. I would guess it's up in the 120s or 130s for sure. If you can imagine against this low, this high 92.12 double channel extension at the same rate, I'm guessing that would be the 130s. So yeah, that's what we would have with a settlement tomorrow above 92.12. So there's that. Let's move on to feeder cattle. May contract, we clearly settled above that area. Well, as I told you before, 149 even to 149.62 is our base of support. And assuming we settle the week tomorrow above 149 even, that would be considered a long-term buy signal on the weekly chart. 163.50 expected within 3 to 5 months. And I showed you that 182 even ascending channel top that could be in reach by the end of the year. Following a settlement tomorrow above 149 even. The next several weeks expecting 155.35, and if we settle above this high anytime soon, then that 163.50 high is attainable in as little as 3 to 5 weeks. So there's that. If we close back below 149 even today, or even 149.62, 145.37 expected within 3 to 5 days, that level able to contain selling through next week, and it's also the point to settle below for pivoting the market south into April trade, then expecting the 138.42 trend line that can absorb seasonal selling pressures, in other words, through spring if tested. And I think that summarizes feeder cattle. I'm going to be doing that feeder cattle cash index. I'm going to be doing a detailed analysis of that soon, and we can look at that as well in combination with the futures. So there's that. Let's jump into something we're so familiar with right now, and that is the June live cattle. And I'll increase this a little bit. 123.57. We closed just below it. Um, if we gap above it tomorrow, that could be a runaway market. Just so you know. So I think we need to be, I think, quick on the trigger on the open tomorrow. We should talk beforehand. I'm guessing. But you've got my permission to stop out and get out at any point that you see fit, especially if we clearly open tomorrow above 123.57. If we don't, then we could talk about that 1%, which would be 1.25 above that essentially, which would be 124.82, right? 124.82 or 124.85 stop tomorrow if we open below 123.57. If we open above it, I think we should just get out and see how the day plays out myself. All right. So there's that. By the way, I'm actually a little, as you can tell, I'm a little rushed. I do need to be out of here in a half an hour. Dinner engagement. So I'm just going to do the video. I'm not going to do the ones and twos. I think they're all going to be pretty much the same anyway. The listing that I make in the email itself. Um, I think that pretty much covers the livestock for the most part. We've got ethanol, RBOB. We're skipping ethanol, jump into RBOB. We are in the midst of testing this channel top right now. I've got 2 point. I mislabeled this crap. 1.9078 is the start of a range of resistance up to 1.9261. This formation consistent with those channel bottoms on crude oil in the 61 handle. So there's symmetry here between these two markets, as you might expect. This is an area the market can stop at through spring, and once tested, we could actually collapse back to this low area within several months, or possibly even lower. On the other hand, if we close the week tomorrow above 1.9261, then I've got bullish continuation like I would in crude if we had a similar buy signal up to 2.1643 within several months. And that's RBOB. So this is a 1 right now. This is short setting territory, fading a bull move, but it's significant. And then let's just jump into crude while we're in the energies. And by the way, that reminds me, I've got that heating oil. We can take a good look at that. I'll look at that over the weekend, and we can start that early next week on a daily basis, as well as soy meal. Here's crude. There's really nothing on this chart to talk about it. We should go to page 2, 61.45 to 94. This has been the target, as you're well aware. Climbing weekly, can absorb buying through spring. Once tested, the market's susceptible to rotating south into the upper 40s once again within several months. But if we close the week tomorrow above 61.94, then I'm expecting 74.34 over the following several months. So there's that. Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said for crude. Let's move into corn. I'll just take a brief look. We got out of this call. It's just sort of flat sitting here. Overall, nonetheless, above 366 and a quarter, the 385 and 3/4 level is in reach, and essentially expected still over the next several weeks. But we do need to get above 374 and a quarter, which is a descending channel top against these extreme highs. It actually has been holding. It held this week's high. I'm still calling it session containment, but if we close above 374 and a quarter, I actually wouldn't even I wouldn't have a problem going long the futures then. Just a one lot up to 385 and 3/4. A 10-cent move was at 500 bucks. I think that's a pretty good play if you like. Otherwise, if we close back below 366 and a quarter, then the market shows weakness again into later April or into April itself. The mid to upper 340s then in reach within several weeks, where we encounter ultra long-term support way down here at 346 half. 13, 14-year channel bottom that's been performing very well since the 2016 lows. Let's move on to, I'm going to start covering soybean meal. It is, I just think it's a good market to watch. It trades well. If we close above 311.3 today, we closed at 311.6 yesterday. That channel top drops to 11.3 tomorrow. That's Thursday. If we close above it, the market should, over the next week or two, push into the 320s, 320.7 long-term descending 1/3 speed line. In combination with a channel top on the weekly chart at 325.3. So the 320s would be expected, and they are significant. They are a short setting zone, and they also are a very meaningful pivot point through spring and even into summer trade. So if we can get above this in the coming weeks, this market looks strong into summer. This would be our buy signal. Until then, the 320s are our primary resistance, and I would expect them with a close tomorrow, Thursday, above 311.3. Downside, and by the way, holding below 311.3, this market remains heavy into April. 287 even in reach over the next, say, 3 to 5 weeks. Do I have that labeled? Yes, it's a long-term trend line. Overall, this is our big support down the low 260s, so kind of a stair-step approach. So we can talk about this tomorrow if you like. On to soybeans. 909.75. This is another market that if we close above this channel top, it's a decent buy signal into the lower 940s, I think. And I either a call or a one lot in the soybeans. Is there a mini soybean? I can't remember. Micro soybean, I'm not sure. But either way, if we close above 909.7, indicates a good March low. We should then see recovery into the very low 940s over the next several weeks. Until then, holding below 909.75, it remains a short play down to at least 880 and a quarter, which is a channel top against this high, and that low coming down in this vicinity. That should contain weekly selling pressures when tested. Overall, however, holding below 941 even, 857 even is in reach, say, by the end of April or into May trade. It's just because it's part of this big consolidation pattern. So a close above 909.75, I think, is a pretty good buy signal. And we could look at 920 calls, 910 calls. We could look at going long the futures, one lot, whatever the case might be. Okay, so I think this is going to be considered. We're a 2 right now, very close to a 1 for Thursday soybeans. wheat. Oh yeah, I should have covered this first because we're in a position here. I've revised this a bit. If you recall, I had this 472 and 3/4 trend line off these lows coming down. It's still a valid session containment, but I do think this 487 and a quarter is actually consistent with this low here at 485, even on the weekly continuation chart, not the May chart. So 485 even is this low, and this speed line is at 487 and a quarter. So I think there's a decent chance we're going to get up there, especially after what happened today, new high settlement. 472 and a 3/4 can certainly contain session highs, and if you are inclined to unload one of those calls at 472 and 3/4, I can certainly be convinced of that. I'm not at all. I don't have a problem with it, but I just think we've got a decent shot for 487 and a quarter, and that's really the start of kind of a wide range of resistance up to this 506 and 3/4. I could be talked into unloading both calls at 487 and a quarter. Because I think from there the market could fall back, I don't know, 460s, 450s from there, and then turn back up later and then get into this low $5 area. So, or we could just unload one and see how the balance plays out up to this 506 and 3/4 to 515 half area on the weekly chart, which is our big short setting area if the market gives us a chance. 452 and a quarter. If we close below 452 and a quarter tomorrow, that should then yield another test at the low 430s within 3 to 5 days at the very most, probably more like 1 to 2. So keep an eye at 452 and a quarter. That's that very short-term ascending channel bottom. I can show you here right now. $452 and a quarter. That's the rising flag. And so we close below that. Doesn't look pretty for us. So I think it just bail out, take a small gain, and call it a day in wheat, right? That covers the newsletters. So what I'm going to do now is jump into, take a brief look at all these. Euro currency. Oh, look at that. Euro currency rallied today. We're in spitting distance now, this 1594 area. It's a weekly chart, so it'll take into next week to reach. But here we are. This is, if we do nothing, and if this market settles above this formation, that is a good go with buy signal to the upside. So I think this is a good play. There's a nice reversal here, and the market's got momentum. So this 1594 is expected, in my opinion, in the next week or so. And we could watch it, but if we close above it, I think it's a good, let's go long. Let's go long the euro currency. I could figure out the targets. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get all the way up in here. There's the 1/3 speed line, possibly, because it's consistent with this whole consolidation area, which is in the 120s, 1.23. Okay, so we'll keep watching that. On to, I'm going to call the euro currency a 2. Canadian dollar. God dang it! What happened to the Canadian dollar? See, my chart screwed up today, so I'm going to go CA6. I think it was. Right? Yeah. Active daily continuation. All right, I'm going to have to reconstruct this on the spot. All right, there we have that. Boom. This was what saved us today. Not getting short. All right, 75.15. I'm not going to mess with the decimal. There is a descending 2/3 speed line that precedes this channel top, but the channel top itself is really what we're focusing on, and that's 75.56 tomorrow. I'll go like this. And we know that if we close above this, we're looking in the 77 handle. So we're in this sort of wedge here, and I think we either play the short side with the sell signal below, or we play the buy signal with the settlement above. 75.56. This is a 1. I'm going to call this a 1 for tomorrow, okay? Yeah, 75.56. We'll keep an eye on that. I have to answer a brief text here. Bear with me for just a second. Sounds good. All right. So there's that. There's the Canadian dollar, and we'll watch. We can talk about this tomorrow as well. Let's go on to the Japanese yen. Okay. All of a sudden, my Japanese yen has this stuff. 75.56, 75.15. 75.15. Is that what I put before? I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. That's all consistent. All right. So for some reason, when I was in the yen today, I was looking at the Canadian dollar with you. I'm going to remove that. Yeah, we're getting close to this low, this high in the yen. Dollar is obviously weak, which makes me think of gold right now. But, you know, I should start breaking the yen down into daily chart stuff. British pound. It's still strong. I don't know how much higher it is from day to day here, but it looks very similar to what it did yesterday. Still this channel structure. This market can still climb high. Gold. Yep. Oh, look at this. Look at that. We pushed through here. What happened? Is there... I have no idea what hell happened. I'm looking at this channel structure here. You know, these are the little things that can kind of screw you up. Should we respect that or not? You know, we have this channel bottom. And that today is at 1301.6. Once again, we're climbing at this same point every day. And so above that channel, can get to the channel top, currently in the 1370s, I'm guessing. This was like a reversal pattern that is right back at you. So, and we're above the speed line. I mean, we can talk about this tomorrow, how we might want to finesse this at all. We sort of missed the boat here on this channel bottom. Now I'm almost inclined to buy it above us with a settlement above this thing. Yeah, I still am inclined. I think this market could then, what are we talking? 1330, let's say, it all the way up into 1380s. A $50 move in gold wouldn't be bad. I don't know what the margins are on this, but we've tested. We're in the process of negating, really, Head and Shoulders. I mean, I think the true way to, in my opinion, to do that is like this, but same thing. We're now above it. We were above it before, but we collapsed, retested the channel bottom. Now we're back above it. So we can talk about gold tomorrow, okay? But it's looking good. Let's put it that way. We had a big reversal today, essentially, and then the market has just recovered in aftermarket trade. So let's go to silver. Silver, more industrial, obviously. Damn it. Hold on a second. These arrows get in the goddamn way. I wish they would move automatically. So this 15.685, yeah, there it is. You know the story here. It really doesn't look any different from day to day right now. But it's bullish. Silver's bullish, about 14.963. Not runaway, but there's nothing to do but buy it down in this territory. Let's talk copper. Copper, creeped up. Still above this classic formation. Expecting this one over time. Months, perhaps. Platinum. I don't even know if we want to look at platinum. Have you traded platinum? I mean, I don't even know about the volume levels. I mean, all this stuff is kind of irrelevant. Got a long-term trend line, also a channel, not really a channel top, a trend line. This is the channel bottom. But this is a breakout point. I'm going to erase this for the sake of this conversation. And it's 899.9 for the current week. 899.9. I think this is worth watching. If we get up and over this, well, let's see. I don't know about that. Yeah. buy this and see it go up for another, week or two and then collapse back. I don't know. I just call this the start of a wide zone of resistance at this point in time. You've got all these old lows, that everybody else is watching, I'm sure, Yeah, this is a resistance area, Short sale. I haven't traded much platinum, so, and I do remember as a broker years ago, it was one of those markets that clients would just get their heads ripped off in. So I have bad memories with platinum. 149.10. So we've got a strong gold and a strong. I'm always trying to the inverse thing. Well, let's put it this way: if we close above this channel top tomorrow, 147.16 in the 30-year, this is then expected. This is the big area. So this is just. I know we're just kind of watching the treasuries right now. Finally, the 10-year. Oh boy, look at this. This is happening. Yeah. Why are my labels gone? What happened here? Here we are. Huh. Look at that. 123.13 half. Close there right on the, or it's trading there right now. This is a 1. I'm not saying we go short. I say we watch this, and if we close tomorrow, Friday, above it, I think we look at some out of the money calls, 126 calls, or I know you like the at the monies, 123 half, 124s, Maybe we can start pricing those. This is not a runaway, the volatility is still relatively subdued. So I think that would be a great little play if we close above 123.15, I'm sorry, 13 half on Friday. And finally, I'll take a quick look at the NASDAQ. Why not? It eased back a bit. This is the week. Is that right? No, this is, sorry. This is the heating oil. God dang it. All right, we're getting close to this channel top. 75.49 half. This is our next breakout to the upside. And we can talk about that if you like. And there it is again. 75.49 half. All righty. So that's 22 minutes. I'm just going to shoot this over to you, and then we can talk in the morning. I would like to talk before cattle opens, just even if it's just brief, just to see what your thoughts are in terms of how to manage that stop if necessary. All righty. Hope you have a good evening, and we'll talk to you in the morning.